I've been using this idea of a projectile path. Now it's very useful and important to understand the symmetry that is there in a projectile path. We have already been using it to some extent. The main point you have to keep in mind is at the topmost point you have only the horizontal component of velocity. So this component would have been how much? U cos theta, right? If this is theta, this is u cos theta. That will be the velocity there, u cos theta. No vertical component, the vertical component becomes 0. When you come here, you have a u sin theta downwards, this fellow has a u sin theta upwards. Now this whole thing, this entire path, if I cut it in the middle, this side and that side you have a nice left-right symmetry. So what does that mean? That means first, of course, that this distance is equal to that distance. Both of these are r by 2. It also says this time is equal to that time. So this time is t by 2 and that time is again t by 2. So total time is t. This is half the time, that is half the time. So travel time from here to there is t by 2. Travel time from here to there is t by 2. Right? So this travel time, that travel time is easy. But it's not just that. If I say that I am reaching somewhere here, I reach a point y, then when will I again reach y? You will reach the same height, but you will reach the same height, this distance and that distance from the center will basically be equal. So if I say that I'm going to reach the height y after traveling a distance of, let us say, x, then if I look at the other point where I have reached the same height y, this distance would be x. If this is x, that would be x. This will be equal to this, that will be equal to that. So that's very useful in certain problems, particularly questions where you are throwing something over a building. Let's say this was a building and you're throwing something which is just grazing across one end and goes across the other end. Then that means the building height is the same on both ends. So whatever you are throwing from here, so suppose I was throwing it 10 meters from this end of the building, it is going to fall 10 meters from that end of the building, right? So such questions, it becomes easy if you know that this distance is equal to that distance. If this travel time was t seconds, this travel time will be t seconds, which means this travel time will be t by 2 minus t seconds. That travel time will be t by 2 minus t seconds. Now, because of the symmetry, it is actually very useful to solve problems starting at the top. If you didn't know the initial velocity, but I knew the maximum height, for example, I will solve the problem like this. So suppose the problem says that this fellow has a range of 40 meters and has a maximum height of, let us say, 20 meters. Then, but I don't know anything about the initial velocity. So what I will do is I will say, let us start at the top. At the top it would have some horizontal velocity and then it would have a vertical velocity which is 0 meters per second. Now when it comes down, how much distance has it come down by? 20 meters. So if I say that let this time be t seconds, you know that it must have fallen how much in t seconds? 5t square, half gt square, because u is 0. So 0 into t plus half into g, which is 5 into t square, must be my height 20. This is of course 0, so no need to worry. So this tells me t must be 2 seconds. So it tells me this time is 2 seconds. If this time is 2 seconds, what is that velocity? 20 meters per second. If this velocity is 20 meters per second, what is that velocity? 20 meters per second, upwards. Okay, how much time was this? 2 seconds. How much time is this? 2 seconds. Symmetry, right? We are using symmetry. So 2 seconds, you get 4 seconds. So how much time is this? 4 seconds. So if you know that this was 4 seconds, but it traveled 40 meters and it was uniform velocity, this must be 10 meters per second because 40 by 4 gives me 10. So that means I know my initial velocity must have been 10 I cap plus 20 j cap meters per second. Which means now if you want the speed, you can take root of 10 square plus 20 square. If you want the angle, you can find the angle as well, because this is 20, that is 10, tan of theta is 20 by 10, 2. So tan theta is 2. So many things that you can quickly calculate if you start at the top. So when the question does not specify the initial velocity or the angle and things like that, so you don't know anything about the bottom part when you're starting, but you do know something at the topmost point. So always start at the topmost point, and then you can calculate the time for this part of the motion and say, oh, this time is equal to that time. Okay, it's always easy because then at the topmost initial velocity is 0, so half gt square is going to be the height. So if you know the height, you can quickly find the time. So many problems you will use this idea of starting at the top. So use symmetry. There is a lot of symmetry in the projectile path, so definitely use it whenever you can. Now let us look at a slightly different situation where we are throwing this at various angles, but we are going to keep u fixed. So what we are going to do is we are going to keep u fixed and we are going to change the angle. Now let us look at this case where I am throwing this ball with the exact same speed but at varying angles, right? So suppose the angle was very small, then what is going to happen? It's going to come here. Why? Because though the speed is high, it's not going to go very far. You can see this formula, u square sine 2 theta by g. When theta is very small, sine 2 theta is basically simply 0. So this is going to be 0. It's going to just simply come back here. It has already hit the ground because there's no time. As I keep increasing the angle, you will find that this fellow's range will keep increasing. Little better angle. Okay. Now this is the maximum that you will go to, and that happens when the angle turns out to be 45 degrees. So for example, if I tell you that this was the case at 30 degrees, that is the case at 45 degrees. So let us say this was 30 degrees. Then when I make it from 45 to 60, the ball goes higher but comes back to the same range. The range is the same. So this is the maximum. Then as I keep coming back, obviously you will also get all these angles. I'm saying 30, then I'm going to 45. So 30, 35, 40, 45, etc. So you will find that you will get everywhere there. Then after 45, when you keep increasing the angle, you will keep decreasing. So this is at 60 degrees. Okay, let us say this was 20 degrees. Then at 70 degrees, you will go up like that and come back down here. So this will be 70 degrees. Notice something. 70 degrees has a very large height, but it has the same range. The range is the same for 20 and 70. The range is the same for 30 and 60. But the height for 60 is that. So this is 60 degrees. That is 70 degrees. And of course, if I make this vertical, which is 90 degrees, it will go up and come back. It's going to go up higher and then it will come back here. If it is 0 degrees, it will be back there, right? So for 0 and 90, you will see that you have the same range. This is 45 degrees. So two things. So you get maximum range for 45 degrees. This is assuming u is the same. For all the same u, maximum range is when you have 45 degrees. And so this is the first point. And the second point is that the range for theta is the same as the range for 90 minus theta is equal to range for 90 minus theta. Let us see why both of these are valid. So let us look at the range formula. So I have just told you that is the situation by just showing you a few examples, right? But if I look at the range formula, you can see that the range has a 2u square by g. Now, u is constant, g is constant, 2 is constant, this is constant. So for everybody, this is constant. Now let us look at sine theta, cos theta. Sine 2 theta is nothing but 2 sine theta, cos theta. So let's look at sine theta, cos theta. So when you have theta, you will have sine theta into cos theta. But if you have 90 minus theta, what will happen? Then you will get, so this is range for theta. What is the range for 90 minus theta? It is 2u square by g into sine of 90 minus theta. What is sine of 90 minus theta? Cos theta. Into cos of 90 minus theta, which is sine theta. So sine theta has become that side and cos theta has become this side. That's it. So sine theta and cos theta have got exchanged. So what is the difference? Let us see. Let us look at this 30 and 60. So when you are going at 30, this velocity is u cos 30 and that velocity is u sin 30. But if you're going at 60, then this velocity is u sin 60 and this velocity is u cos 60. But u cos 60 is the same as u sin 30. In terms of values, these two are equal. And in terms of values, those two are equal. So initially we had Vx, right, I cap plus Vy j cap. Now all you have done is to reverse it. So you're just simply saying Vy I cap plus Vx j cap. So when you do this, the time is now going to depend on Vx. Here the time depends on Vy. But then the range is going to be Vx into Vy, 2Vy by g. So because 2Vy by g will be the time into Vx. Here it is going to be 2Vx by g into Vy. So if you see, basically you have Vx, Vy, which is the product. And so the product is the only thing that matters. Like you see here, sin theta, cos theta. So it is u sin theta into u cos theta. So instead of u sin theta, now you have u cos theta, and instead of u cos theta, you have u sin theta. That is the difference. So very important. This fellow's range and that one's range, they are both equal if the angles are complementary, theta and 90 minus theta. Is that clear? 1. Now, if I keep doing this, you can see that as I keep increasing, the thing which will basically land up with the same range is going to be when 90 minus theta is equal to theta. And that happens when theta is 45 degrees. Now you may not think of this as proof, but basically that is the place where you have one, you don't have two. You have both of these coinciding, and that is the maximum range. Why do you have a maximum range? Because you increase it more than 45 degrees, then you have a larger component vertical. So you're getting a lot of time. You're getting more time for travel, but you're getting less horizontal velocity. So the product is basically what matters for range. So the product becomes less. But it's easy to see that it must be 45 by using this formula. What is the maximum value of u square sin 2 theta by g? Whenever sin 2 theta becomes the maximum value possible, because u and g are fixed. So when will sin 2 theta become maximum? It is 1. So sin 2 theta will reach its maximum value, which is 1. But that will happen when 2 theta is 90 degrees, which means theta must be 45 degrees. So whenever you say, I am throwing this such that it reaches its maximum range, what angle am I throwing it at? 45 degrees. So 2 points. Complementary angles have the same range for the same velocity, and the maximum range happens at 45 degrees. So generally keep these 2 points, because many questions will assume that you know this statement. So they will therefore make this as a condition. So they would say, I am throwing it such that it is maximum range. So you then have to think about the fact that it has to be 45 degrees. Again, only works if you're talking about ground to ground projection. It does not work if I start at a top of a building and I throw, then maximum range will not be 45 degrees, remember, because maximum range you're talking about horizontal distance. But since you're starting there, even if I threw it horizontally, you will still not get 0, right? You will get something which is not 0. So you have to be a bit careful. This is valid for ground to ground projection.